found one. Singer on the high road. Old stones washed with rain, wandering stormed by wind and fire, dark and ice. Did bridges sigh your grief here, its heaviness your horror? So deep when you were young. Pine and desert sage, chasm twisted, streaming from fluted cliffs, hills scarred by ancient fire. Time, and the high meadowed heights, whence blew the winds upon which your heart was thrown. The cold wind from the upper mountains roared and raged down, thunderstorm and snow. Languished, anguished, summer of my youth. Hooded forests, high barrens massed with fog, moss, and flowered pungent rivers overflowing with heavy rain, running turquoise white, choked with ice-born silt, colder, for the light was gone that had been a golden spring. Bone-numbing stone boulders in the stream of passing time. Eyes looked down and away from log-railed bridge. Deep was that valley green, and the high heights were hid gray by summer storms. Sing around the high road. These are the canticles of a muted time that you dared not sing. Did you no more see those mountains, that sky? Did life then become dull fact and mythic dream, meaningless, endless, endured grim? The opening of the inner gates, the boxers locked against the robbers of the tomb, the temples of the wild laid waste. Sing around the high road. The harp is tuned, the stride is set. Wander free past ancient stones and sing upon the wind, mountains dancing to your fire-beat drum. Were not the withers and lands too real? For the sky laughter, was not the sky laughter with gods? Earth is good enough a home. Heaven may be a better dream, but here you walk in human flesh. No longer is the world a needless open, fearful home, fulfilling dreaded times from an older, younger, a tender day than this, and you feel the wind and sun upon your face. Sing around the high road, the stride presents. Stride free on ancient stones, rising before the wind of change. Refrains dancing to your fire-beat drums. Raging. With high-toned song. Yeah, Lillooet Elegy number 1. Lillooet's the area I'm from in BC, Lillooet Country. Yeah, I don't know. Lillooet Country has played a big role in my life. Kept on going back to it. Long story as to why. It gets complicated. Yeah, there's another one of these somewhere. Yeah, that one has a lot of higher meanings on it, of course, for me, right? But yeah, it's always a life journey going. It's trying to explain the beauty of the country too, as I write off. It's kind of trying to allude to the place. The people from there will recognize the places I'm talking about. I think what it looks like. Yeah, I had a bunch of stuff like that where I kind of orate the country. I do a lot of that, And, I don't want to do the volcano stuff right now. No, I need candles and a lot of lubricant for my throat for that one. You hear my voice is already going. And yeah, well, I got to do a lot of singing soon anyway. I really should sing this afternoon. Yeah, why not? Listen, look what should be the Embadosjotum. Right, it's the song of Loki and Baldur's Heart. It's the era of Loki and Baldur's Heart. It's what it said. I'll just stop a bit. The song of a liar, a sire, and a fellow squire. To the comrade of a private heaven, a private hell. I don't want to do it right now. It's long. So, Everson needs to stand up there with his Parkinson's quivering. And I hope I don't get that part of Parkinson's. God bless me, I don't. Yeah, I know I got a thing to do now in the world is be this, What are you going to be? Are you pay living? You never make your money of that? Yeah, that's the Canadian attitude about fucking everything. You got to go to the mill. You got to teach school. Hey, why don't you get a real job, kid? Hey, why don't you be responsible? Stay here. I was sitting off the road to do my thing, and some asshole, I just met him, 45-year-old yuppie. Oh, what does he do? Sell insurance? What? He's sitting down the cafes at Blends at Burrard and Robson with me. I know the place. I'm sitting there. I'm going abroad, and I tell him, with selling my CDs. Well, that's really irresponsible. You only know me for 10 minutes, dickhead. You know, like, I hated you. Anyways, Vox Lapis. Well, that's a great little thing. Who's that from? It's not me. Is it Cowper? It might be. Or is it Blake? I think it's Blake. Yeah, I think it must be. But I call it Vox Lapis, Voice of the Stone. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. It's a famous bit. I'm sure that's Blake, actually. Must be. I think so. Yeah, it does all the private hymns again. Look at this certain German one they want to do. They want to do for Mrs. Feniger, Elizabeth. Oh, the ancient voice and mastery of tongues. That one begins. Well, it's come now. Oh, God, I'll do that one later. I'll just send it to him here. Ooh, never mind. It begins by ancient law. Wales gave him old. That's it. Okay, so anyway, so what we got here? I decided to finally send it to him. You just fucking never know, right? Being an artist is kind of like being in the lottery, you know? You usually got to dress up funny costumes. I was thinking of The Dwarf. Anybody should really read. Oh, yeah, great reading for anybody who's in entertainment, anybody who's in clowning. The Dwarf by Per Lagerkvist. Oh, yeah, I was living out in this place in Canyon in Alpine Meadows, the last place up on the left. Oh, long story about everything that went on there. Way at the top of Alpine Way in Alpine Meadows. And there was something on the other side. I never checked this out, so here it is. I'm gonna read it half a sec here. I'm gonna, in case everything ever happens to the document, there might be the digital thing survive. Not that I don't know what to do with these. Anything, I have a certain person now that will inherit what my late little brother was going to inherit, and another little brother now, basically, well, very much so. So I'll just read it like this, so I don't twist my neck. I got the light wrong. Right? The mountain night is open, quiet. A deer starts outside the bathroom screen, paces up and down, and looks into the light, or away, but stops. An uphill slope, lit alders bush, dark towered cedars, dim pillars in the windows glare. Within, without, creature, do you see me stare and look aware into the unseen forest, as though there were no screen between my safety and yours? Into the wild, friend, stalk the night grail lee. Lead the path to thread grey night, I will turn and sleep. Incubed and dark, warm, the bright fires of human nests, gone out and turned to dream. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't use that 5-letter word that begins with 6-letter word. I don't even know how many letters that word has. Yeah, really, I don't. Of course, it's because you don't want to think about it. Many people say, yeah, you are. I go, oh, God help me. I never asked to be born with this song. That's one of my other poems. But it turns out to be a beautiful thing. I go back and I look and I realize the worth of many things that I did that I just walked away from and had in this box. Oh, yeah. Wet rain on the Moha Road, cold fog above a high frozen plain, forests of the Bendor, dark and steep, the mountains crumbling, the road rock strewn. Through the canyon, crags just glimpsed high and slick and chill, harder than a winter sky, rearing into a gorge and above a river long dead. Long since have the wild and fells, the spheres of desolation swirling, grinding, the jade and gold all gone. Now the forests are called to fall, the high barrens unmade. Something has gone even these few years. Something thinner and less rare in the sanctity of mountain wind. Some great thing has faded. Cruel doom awaits the rest. 300 miles on square or more is next year's price for human will. This decade will see the wild land end. Forever will the mountain's bones haunt us with ruined glory. Babylon, Akkad, holy Thebes, Athens, Rome. Your science brood swarms the earth. Creation falls beneath you, lot and seed, and not only fire awaits to unleash a final mercy. And so be it. Indeed, this was, oh God, when was this? This was, when was this from? Yeah, this is like, this was probably right when they started. As I was reading this, I think this is about seeing the Mohawk country. Yeah, and then seeing Mount Sloan log, the logging of the Bridge River country. That horrified me. I had to leave. And indeed, it's become, I wouldn't be living there right now, I guess you could say. Seeing it going on. It's there enough they're logging even more still. And what could have been? Tourism. What do they want it? Forestry. This is how the Crown runs things, so I just stuck my neck out like a fucking, here, cut it off on Twitter. I'm going to Twitter, or whatever. I'm going to just put it around more. I don't know. I'm taking big risks, you know. But I got nothing else to lose at this point. You know, I got this Swiss will wash out for me. I'm a good man. They know that. And I know I'm a pretty good poet, too. Is that what that is? No. Oh, it's a lot more than poetry. I know. That's for my... See, I wrote my own scripts. I'm living my own script. But this also is like... I'm an oracle. I saw things coming years ago. This was addressing things that I see now and still goes on. It's like... It's hard being part of this world in this country. It's easier to be in exile than to see the pain of your own country and not see it be a free country. But for me, also to see the physical ruin of the wonderful place that I grew up in. Oh, the breathtaking beauty of the Seton Valley in those days. God, it's hard to talk about. All I can do now is laugh. Oh, why did I read this? Oh, yes, let's do this. Oh, here's another big risk. Oh, yes. Okay, now I have a term for, well, at the time we had the $1.49 American dollar or whatever it was. How does that work? We were only worth $1.49 American or something like that? I think so. We were cheaper than them. The dollar was tanking. And the finance minister was Alan McEachern. So I had McEachronomics. You know, like McDonald's, McEachronomics, you know, McDonaldomics or whatever, right? And Trudeau's mania. That mania, yeah, egomania. Oh, I'm Pierre Elliott Trudeau, P.E. Trudeau. Oh, yes, okay. Hi, Justin. This is a song. This is a poem about your dad, man. Or your papa. Nice guy. What manner is this man who struts his fame in this true north as though it were his private stage? For those of us that love this land and dare to speak it forth, his rule us doth enrage. A tyrant is, as tyrant does, by elect or by inherit. His crimes are many, his wisdom fraud. He'd look well upon a pyre or garret. I'm sure they know this is poetry. Otherwise, that's sedition. What did I write about this? Okay, here we go. It's a paragraph. It's like this, you know. It's this paragraphs here. Democrats and libertarians cannot help but be perturbed by the escapades of Monsieur Trudeau in the latter days of his reign. The list is long. But one must worry for the state of political consciousness, let alone conscience, in this country, when in front-page newspaper articles the PM can gloat over having won a constitutional battle, the script for which he had himself written, by having secured declaratory powers and censure under peace, order, and good government, and so forth. All the attractions of a dictatorial presidency is, in essence, the rewriting of the Constitution to fit the political power structure and social milieu he has brought into being the careful mismanagement and political processes of the countries and cultures of its people. Shades of Oceania, you know, in 1984. As the youngest, in other words, you know, all together, Britain and U.S. and so on. As the youngest of the major nations of the world, quote-unquote major, Canada is the most modern and method, with no history to undo or revise, and so not much anyway. Well, I have a lot to say about that since. Canada is becoming the prototype Orwellian state, with absurd doublespeak jargons, sweeping police powers, a computer society held in slavery to consumerism, and haphazard growth, a quasi-militarist foreign policy. What else can you call it when Canada tacitly supports the U.S. and peddles can-do bomb breeder reactors to all comers? A massive, intricate, and near inhuman bureaucracy and an entrenched ruling elite with all memory of Canada that had been before Trudeau mania put Canada through a cultural revolution where urban centres continue to elect an egomaniac, mostly for his arrogance and his fast tongue and his fastened attempts at statesmanship and historical greatness. What else can one do when the world has come to its end, as Caligula said? The new national anthem, of course, will be, "Beneath the spreading maple tree, I sold you and you sold me." Sung by either the First Ministers or the PR men, as you please. For those who don't recognize that, it's underneath the spreading apple tree. Or is it maple tree? I don't know. I can't remember. Apple tree, I think it is. In 1984. Is it maple tree underneath the spreading maple tree? No, it's another kind of tree in 1885. Underneath the spreading maple tree, I sold you and you sold me. Because the Canadian system is all about selling each other out. What else is Parliament? Parliament is a game held by kings so that people would think they had democracy when they rich hold power. Not right now. Oh. So I was in Denver waiting for, I had terrible, I think, this is when I had my toothache, headed home. I was going to San Jose and then get to Victoria to have the thing dealt with my jaw. No, I'll leave that till later. I'm more focused. I was in Denver, and that's what that was looking at. Where's that stuff in German? No, some of the really dark stuff is all beautiful. I'm always trying to be positive. But this stuff, someone goes to Dark Knight so long ago. It's not what I'm looking for right now. Oh, yeah. See, they're all experiences, all these poems that I have. And I've got copies of them in typed and untyped and stuff. I'm looking for some of the untyped or early ones. Some old eco-propaganda. That's nice to have, actually. I wish I'd kept a lot of things now. I used to have lots of boxes of manuscripts. I should have had my own fucking archives. Because I still, that'll always be there sometimes somewhere. Oh, here we go. That's a short one. This refers to the wizard and the beekeeper wizard. Same kind of rhyming, sort of. His inward enchantments were, seeking truth in out, finding only doubt. His outward gazing caught, amazing, and fell out the wizard's rout, laughed and cried, and singing stirred, rolled out beyond all doubt a trance enhanced. A wizard strode upon that road, rhyming, full entranced, in rhythm's bowed and rhymer's code, finding footing for old odes. Thunder struck, a sunset's fall, lightning crack, far mountains roared, a wind blew calm, the haze's pall bewitched the straits, earth's sky was moored. On 100 stone lay on the beach, each crying, take me, any one will do. Or even twain, jasper, granite, 2 singing chosen. White veined flush, purple ruffed, dark pink and veined to gray, mottled, smooth, salt glistening, the beach farewelled, time hastening. I actually kept those stones for years in a box. I'm sure I remember what they are. They're only things. Even the magical stones, they're not magical stones, they're just memories. But here I have the words. See, I remember those words, the logos. Yeah, in the beginning of the mind was the logos. We began to conceive of words. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's not a book. Never mind. Sister, do not spin that thread with rotten wool. What a fine knot and fragile is the scarring the smooth weave. Sister, do not pick that thread, for rotten wool will crumble, and the weave will fall apart, and the loom song lapse to silence. Brother, tear away that veil of fear and ride return from the nether world. Fated youth riding dark by night, resisting folly and the death called maturity. trying to put sense together after the world went apart, I guess. I can't remember exactly when that was. I do, actually. I don't want to talk about it. Ooh, yeah, yeah, like really, really wildly philosophical through a lot of this. You said, Nietzsche said that someday the entire German race would transcend. What he didn't really fully realize, as I realized later, he didn't understand that the French, the Italians, and the Spanish, a lot of other people are also the German race, including the Czechs, who are Germanicized Slavs, culturally. Oh, very much so. They won't like me for saying that, the Czechs, but it's true in terms of being part of the Holy Roman Empire for so long. I am only an empty body, a being without name or past. Drunk dreamed, I feel the thread of sleep, of tongue, I feel the hostile wind, from which I then turned face. I felt that hostile wind that blew the goals of my forgotten race. Rage. Surging thoughts oversweep the beast, dreams undone become cold night. The flesh seeks hold upon the world. Our air storm clouds gather within the man, the beast, shutting down the mind at the end of the quest, shutting down the heart, lest it freeze in that wind, shutting down the dreams, struggling to awake an open eye, struggling to empty a year of the falsity of words, struggling to kindle fire in flesh, and shift the gaze to watch without the depths, to sit outside the clamoring crowd of sentiment that seeks beneath the nervous skin, that is the craving of the skin's body, for living life, a heart-stilling love, an embrace of mystery feared. Sorry. It goes there. Yep, I have. William Everson, you talk about your personal innards, I guess. Well, I tried to walk Bifrost alone. The colors would not support my mass. I plunged from my own weight. Blinded by rainbows, terrored worlds, means and ends both lost to sight. Folly named, my fall known, I licked my wounds upon the gentle earth's raw flesh torn by impassive stone. Yeah, that's just part of something. Of course, it refers to the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Yeah, I had a lot of quasi-Norse Celtic, Greco-Romantic, Jindic. It mixes all the non-Christian traditions, which are not pagan. That's just a derisive term. I refer to it somewhere in the beginning of the country. In there, I said the countries, the temples in the country. I meant the pagan temple, of course. Yeah, I think I read that the other night. Where is that? I read this. I think it was already said. Yeah, I got a nice review. Oh, there it is. I think we reversed the words on this and they're fucked up, and I might as well do this because I've been making reference to it for people. I'd had my teeth out, and this came out of me, started to around Beacon Hill, northeast side of Beacon Hill, somewhere in there. Between the zoo and the totem pole, I guess, kind of. I got water in it. Not the first time I've spilled water on this. I'm lucky all my poetry didn't get blown away when I had this car accident. Never mind. I spun out the wagon on it with liquid oil. Never mind. Shemanis. And these were in the back. It's things could have happened. Long story. And I remember somebody saying, Mike, you should try editing your poetry. Well, no, never edit your poetry when it comes out of you this way. But these are people that have to work on their poetry. No, I can't. Mine comes out. If I screw around with it, it loses it. So somewhere there's a couplet that doesn't work. It's just a question of reversing ones. So I'm partly looking for the manuscript. It's here somewhere. Somewhere. I never asked to be born into this age. Or saddled with this tongue. I never asked for an adventure's rage or lust, the glory for the urgent young. I never made cunning song or rhyme that cast it other than mortal time. I never made my flesh's weight or the burden of man's mystery. I never chose a fatal fate or the terror of my history. I have worn 100 names. I've lived too many foreign fames. This is just a passing face, a madness to drive the mortal day. A rift-closed time, a gap-filled space, a rotten carcass to be thrown away. I'd fain be unharnessed of this dreadful task, riding whipped by a muse without being asked. But I shudder to see a cancer spread, My form is pounded by the angered dead who ride my robes on high-winged horse. Ha ha ha! Laughing at his comment. What did I beg? The golden bridle spurs, this fury-charged force. So it's interesting because I kind of know who I'm pretty sure that's Robin Skelton's handwriting. Or otherwise, he reviewed World Bane Wood. They gave me second for this one, and Stella didn't like it that I got first and second. Yeah, she submitted something nice. You know, she did. I think she got honorable mention or something. But hers was on Remembering Egypt. So anyways, it says some of these, they're limp. These lines bother me about. I never made cunning song or rhyme that cast in other than mortal time. I'm just saying it like it is, buddy. And he's telling me these bother me. They limp. They limp how? I'm saying the direct truth. They limp. Okay, well, never mind. What did he say? Archaic. Yes, he goes, I'd fain be unharnessed of this dreadful task. This couldn't be. I see it's not his writing because I know it's different from the other one. So what if it's archaic? Can you not read older English? I don't want to see that. I edit poetry, she's going, or he's going. And then I go on. Listen, we're just laughing at the stupid poetry critics of this place, right? I'd fain be unharnessed of this dreadful task, writing whipped by a muse without being asked. I'm making a statement of fact in really good rhyme, actually. Oh, they don't like doggerel, they call it. Not good. They need tightening. How? How, you non-poet? Oh, I don't like that. They need tightening. What would you have put, sir, to mean that? Huh, madam? What would they put? They don't fucking know. So it's outrageous that they get paid money to. I don't know who this was. This is volunteers probably, but you get degrees being debts for other people who can actually do. You know, you teach because you can't do, right? And yeah. Well, I didn't ask for this fate. And then somebody else said Donister Manus, or was it McWhirter, Doug McWhirter? Oh, you can't. Donister, you can't talk about this stuff because the old gods are gone. Are they indeed? So you never understood a goddamn thing. You know, that's the whole problem with everybody got shot in the trenches. All the best teachers of classics were the first ones into the fucking trenches. Same as the Philhellenes in Greece. Now the kids, they don't get the best. So anyways, there was always a second part to that. And Pegasus. Pegasus is dead. That shining mane, flashing wings, the silver bright head, struck asunder and smashed by great bolts of light, hurled down by heaven's murderous might. Pegasus, Pegasus, my proud pigeon steed, did I waste the last of your faithless breed. Looking at this fucking garbage here. Look at this fucking bullshit. What they say is like, it's really good poetry for a guy just coming up out of. I'm doing dramatic readings. This is not their place to criticize. This is not a poetry for their enjoyment or criticism. But look what they say. Heaven's murderous might. Well, you know what I'm referring to. The striking down of Bellerophon off of Pegasus. And what do they know? They don't even know who fucking Bellerophon is or what Pegasus myth is about. The person who wrote that. Not good. Too lush. Lush or harsh? It doesn't say. What does that say? Lush or harsh? Fuck. Did I waste the last of your fabulous breed? Oh, I could write a better line, could I? About the great steeds of fable. Who is this guy? The Pegasi? The flying steeds? Who is this guy? How is this possible in this country? I'll tell you well. Canada Council. And the way culture is funded here and controlled also by corporate people who are the only ones that can afford to send their kids for liberal arts now, which is just say, if they want to study dance, let them go. The reason there's not a lot of talent here, if you want to succeed, you go to the States or in certain fields like dance and shit. Well, that's been fun. Do I have more here? I have some releases. That's nice to have. What else is in here? I'm looking for other poetry. And there's some German books here. I've got poetry. Japanese grammar. That's why I was the Japanese grammar book in tatters. Simon Fraser. What have I got here? You see, I was exploring these boxes, looking for certain things I wrote. The page on Cagliostro from Spence. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I really wish I still had that copy of Barley I gave to Jimmy Miller. Yeah, and more verses too. Suspicious Age was a song I did for Udo the other night. Some song lyrics, Wildlands. What else is here? Yeah, some things to be typed out and a collection of very old verse. Excuse me. I think I'll put these down, look at the photos now while I still have daylight. We finally have civilization here. Okay, the volcano poem. I'll just read a page or two of it. I'd used these words before. This was on the Graffito. No, it's 12th and Cami bus stop, not Kootenay Loop. It was scrawled in black felt pen, and it was like 1979 in the fall. There was lots of weird shit around Vancouver. God, I'm going to not set up to do this right. I'll have to turn this and put those here. It's kind of, this is the new Volospol. So the song of the Sibyl, who Odin summons off the field of the dead. Come here, tell me the fate of the world. Actually, she's cursing him. Or I think she's saying, don't you remember? I think I know when Ragnarok was. And a nice calm, polite, no, we don't enter anything that you've done, letter from CBC. Oh yeah, well it helps become, I know, never mind. Just never mind, this is not worth talking about. I'm here to read this. So this is, I haven't done this, so I need to summon this film. That's the first time reading it to get myself refreshed with it. And the first couple of pages of, I've called it the Dark Giant because it's a giant speaking dark things. I don't know. Now, the song of the volcano. Something will come up. I don't know what to call it. A new Volospol. The clouds part like a dream of the imminent twilight. It falls infinitely upon the sanguine fields at the end of an era. Through the rift, diffuse beams of steamy sun, sordid omens and drift, like a shape emergent from mists of chaos, the fiery frost, the cold light of a flaming sword encountered in quest on the great frozen wastes. Is this a new sun already? Are the coils of doom already strangling? What boding can the silver glare of the wet northern summer reveal in time before the sunset majestic? Dampness lurks in the long grass. The golden diamonds drop into another form heedlessly, and the crops of the long grass are so far only long blades. Fresh titans, is it? Beneath this wave of oracle, the old signs read like stones freshly carven, guideposts and warnings both to and from a world freshly hewn. The axe and the hammer level the forests and hills, and the thundering anvil clangs alarms into the face of the west wind. Will green children dance among the shattered stones and the tainted dew? The fogs of change will lay long on this sad world. The things of the gap will prowl voraciously in the frail tents that men have made their homes. 3 winters passed, long and fierce, and the mountains of ice flame anew. The lords of the wolves bay at unseen wombs, and the whales sing elegies to unborn sons that lie in cold cruelty in the vaults of war. The empty omens stack like the lies of the gods and the jests of giants, while the frantic hearts of the middle world ready the stage and polish heavy keys. Already the drum has sounded, the crack of the chain snapping, and the call of the great horn is waited to warn of the siege of heaven and the shattering of rainbows. Frosty hooves on ancient bridge driven by hordes of flame. The whips of the gods shatter the cold rocks, and the sea will blacken poison, and the sun will be forgotten beneath the lowering clouds. A squirrel will die. A mighty tree has begun to fall, and the great mists begin to fill the void again. What giant will be spawned to be hacked by his progeny this time? Why bathe this fragile place through gaunt mists with the pewter light at the end of time? The rocks heave, And so an age. So I wrote that before I knew that Mount St. Helens had exploded that morning. I was one of the few people in the Northwest that wasn't bounced out of bed. I slept right through it. I should have heard it. Yeah, but I was on the wrong side of a weird hill. So anyway, just a little bit of pseudo Blake here. Okay, this is fun here. Mountain, mountain, burning bright within the ashes of the night. What immortal hammer's might has smashed thy frosty symmetry? What mighty will hath smote thy form, and what great force shudders within thy fiery bowels? Scion of the great dragon, born in boding beneath the passioned earth, a great worm 5 times round, smoky lord of northern skies. What visages in the heavens will you bring upon us at the closing of a world? Poison sea and blackened sea, shattered land and stinking waste, foreboding, anger, hate, and haste, powers dire, destruction fair. What secrets lie within your lairs to sweep across this ravaged world? The final match, the godly doom, the heavens smashed, and new worlds whirled. No banners masked, no pennants furled. Ah, the runes are cast and carved on the rock of time. Change eternal lashes its waves to erase these two from yet another set to be norned in stone. The mountains revolt and signal loud. A raven flies, an ancient woman fears. Mountain, mountain, burning bright within the ashes of the night, what immortal deaths and nights will smash and reek with fury high? You're going, Mike. We're doing good here. We're going to keep on going, Mike. We're doing good here. I've never read this in years, you know. I don't remember how long ago. And it's been promised I'd read it for people. So here we go. Let's get it done before dark. I need candles. I need to go get some candles, all right? On steeds of stone, the troll horde rides from the midnight sun, carven giants cold, to revenge their ancient will and long-lost rule, eyes and swords and elemental cruels. From the minds of men and the loins of gods, volcano, rain, storm, and fogs, 3 frozen winters and the enchained stars, words from times and worlds afar. Rune, rune, horde of fate, will any hand this tide abate? That's what you get for reading lots of Yeats and all those guys. I don't know. It's got to come out of you. If you read words, you got to go where the words tell you to go. And if they come out of you like that, you got to give them the weight they deserve, because that's what they are. Oh, I think you're being a little too excessive, are we indeed? Anyways. Oh, so that go back to that same thing I just read, you know, the Roxy, even though so it is, all that stuff about the giants. Well, anyway, cold, titanic blood begins to boil in anticipation of a time, peace, and the buried gods. Self-imprisoned in your private hells, the jaded folds of amber pitch. Mark your spirits well within and lock the hidden caves of your hearts. Cannot you breathe the clean air and dance with urge the dreams of your faults? Cold, titanic blood begins to boil in anticipation of a time, peace, and the buried gods. Long silence, long silence. Beneath the hot black loins of darkening night, a cold storm blows on a lost mountain height. And on that last page, there was the squirrel, you know? Yeah, what that is Ratatos, it was the squirrel who nibbles at Yggdrasil in the Norse myth. There's lots of Norse myths and Greek myths scattered all the way through this. How many pages? It's a lot of pages still. I know that's pretty much. Oh no, I'll do this page. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay, keep going, Mike. Fuck. Don't wean me out. Right? How are we doing for time? Oh, we got 39 minutes. Okay, I had some editing to do, but okay. Still begging. They got it back to that tone of voice and something there. It's very solemn, right? Walk girdled tight in tightened minds. The storms of brass borne on chests of pride, sealed from the humid pitch of the human night. Hope rotten in your gating hearts, hated chambered halls of hell. Stony eyes flash at unmade judgment, fate written in the mud that mucks warm beneath metal feet. Basalt sinews, hardened chaos, strain, anxious for passage, great silence from the blasted fields of forsaken earth. Hammers bolt and giants belt, the world mills strike, what else will melt than the mountains cold, the deserts hot, and bottomless voids of nothing and naught. The walls are built high and well before the wind, but the rocks will have revenge before an age is out. Hammers bolt and giants belt, the world mills strike, what else will melt? And the basalt sinews harden chaos, the anxious, pregnant void, and the great silence. What corded codes bind your girth to leash restraint from your obsessive wills? The battlegrounds are already flocked, and scars run deep within your necks. Cannot the hoarded howl be heard, and thus exalted far beyond its way, and forced forwards to ride the windy waves of change? Hammers bolt, and giants belt. The world mills strike. What else will melt? Yeah, I remember being in the side cafeteria at SFU with Trudy and Saget. We were with Annie. It was Annie. I remember also Annie. Maybe Miriam was there. Was sitting there. Somebody else. I was reading that page, and this woman came to the far end of the cafeteria, started railing on me about how dare I celebrate. Like she said, it was anti-matriarchal, blah, 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 blah. She got really violent. I get attacked. You stay when the music will get attacked sometimes. Yeah, so hearts of glass, stronghold fast, crystal, stream, storms, and marbled warms, encircled walls against anguish, grown cold, lust, lost love, and uncandled hate to heat, candied, desperate, dust-bossed mud. Hammers bolt and giants belt. The world mills strike, what else will melt? Of what? From what? Deep cherished guilt is your final mansion built. On the dark, deep mountains' roots, a nod is gnawed, unquestioned moot. The fates of the wise and the doom of gods. A well runs dry and grows with moss. Anybody who knows their Norse mythology knows what that last bit is about, so I'll just leave that. I'm not going to bother explaining things for you. That's the thing, is I shouldn't have to explain a lot of this. But these days I do. I talk more than 5 sentences and people think I'm ranting. Oh, God. Anyways, I am from an ancient world now, even more than ever. Dragon, cold fire drake. Where swept your tail long winters make. Hammer, forging storm and arcane urge drives thy angry soliloquy along the eldritch road to world-bane wood. Oh, where bays a hound, forebodings brood, and stalks a shadowed lion ambush above the echo of the abyss and the fogged mirrors of time. The book of wicked, thunderings bold, cracks open with a flash. Upon a montane stronghold, the booming rolls beneath the rocks, the black-mailed fist, aged, graying, knocks upon the door drawn with runes that sealed away a vision of spit and pented coils, and the chains of change are broken to end an old crone's toils. Hammer, forging storm, that stuff thou smite to build the form anew and not the fledgling worlds with spark and spray in twisting whirl. The eye of destruction, fire's rain, false the hastening storms, was drawing call with stentor voice. To the standing stone, the host of fate, make urgent moan. Along the eldritch road to world-bane wood, an arcane urge drives thy angry soliloquy to the hammer, forging storm. Hammer, blackened night. Hammer, forging form. Hammer, thunder's might. It's a bit of a dialogue between the giants and Thor, I guess, really, because, the giants have their cause. Their justice and revenge are part of the law of the universe. And the gods committed great crimes, both in their rule of the universe and also in the building of Asgard by the betrayal of 2 giants who they killed. So the law of revenge determines that ultimately, so Odin's always just harvesting guys to help him win mortal lives to come fight with him in the battle. But I think it was 537, 541 AD. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. It just keeps on going. Each page gets a little more like Russian, each page gets a little more So I'll just, I'll post the whole thing of the series. I don't know, I might as well do this. I'll read it too, I guess. I don't know. I like you to see, but I gotta see it here. The light, okay? The horses of hell bolt, half corpse, half colt. The black steed of void churns in its caged otherwhere to bound forth onto the stellar floor. In black of day, in white of night, the grim doom clouds gather and grow in somber depth. Burning flower of mother love, bleed forth thy melted loins and wrench in the dark heat and the shaggy shanks of naked sky. What voice gives tongue from the threats of the towers of fire? What fate besoughs the sinister sword of the whirling sky and wrecketh the shuddering spasms of the buckling hills, maternal rock? In thunder stalks the sky, chill battles wrought on high. A poison sea of stormy smoke blacks the stars from mortal sight, and chokes a forest green and gold, in black of day, in white of night. Charioted anvils cruise to take the hammer blow and forge a world from fury fire, warning horns to sound in jagged tongue and scar and tease in jagged places, high above the earth and cragged above the cragged faces, haggard land laid waste, shrug not shoulder discontent. The maiden cavalry of hell will ride you yet and rent no heroes from the field. The ghouls are fat this day. By the poison chains of malice are the godly drafts betrayed. Grim grimness glooms, and the sun weeps with blood. What gray will gray the moon this with flesh is this that flows in flood? Frost, chaos, whiten knuckles, grasp thy staff and stagger not. Stone frost, stand fast across the frozen seas, to the fiery halls of stone from the stony halls of fire, and the tumbled walls giant built which lie in heap in forgotten ice. New mountains loom, new meadows bloom on the far, far side of the smiting hammer doom. Could use a trip right now too, actually. That was summer. It was summer. It was a nice summer. That was June of 1980, I guess, when the volcano was erupting. That would be about 8 pages a day, basically. So I count the pages. I'd know how many days that was in. About a week, I guess. 7 days in the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Long story about being here, or us, whatever. It's that. Yeah, that one has to be. See, that just can't be read on the page. If people go, we usually miss too much. Am I indeed? And what can you do? Really, what can you do, kiddies? Hellbridge, hold up, a manic cavalry vaults the gorge, where had a prism of the sun been held and horn blown not until its time. Dragon horde, what Titan forge has lain along thy back to rouse thee hot and fell to hunt along the middle track? In black of day, in white of night, the hell horse bucks to challenge thunder's hammered might. Soon gapes the day on damned sight, the bottled vengeance like to urge and slay in elemental fight, and hack the gods to black of day and white of night. Stone blood runs cold in mountain veins, but lashes forth in hot red rains. What cold fire will be unleashed upon the world as new dragons lurch toward the mountains to be born? Hammer's might, smoky mist, fire and shroud and icy fist. Chazi, king of the fire giants, whose daughter was stolen by Skirnir, of course, was to the plane of the dead. All the giants come back from the plane of the dead. That's part of the story of, I'm sure that's part of the climax of Game of Thrones, because all the dead giants come back as dead giants. Okay? Yeah, the king of hell is actually the liberation from the Odir. So, rivers of fire, flames of ice, in frozen black procession ride the armies of the night. Long winter's grasp, the giants curse, and march upon this middle world. Hoist axes drawn sharp with stars to rift the misted spaces of the time. Appointed victory, doomed in stone, from budding boulders full mountains grown. Sword hew the cloud and scream on high above the fray, and havoc fay, and stab the earth with gouging swoop, and peg the wheel of destruction as the graving standing mountains core. Rail the bridge of heaven with your steely rattle, and jab awake the sleeping giants of the sea. So night shall pass without a day, nor any day before a night, for in wake of becoming booming crack of doom, heaven's fear, giants' delight, and the olden roar that is the battle cry of hell, ruins the gods' godly wills in giant knell. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, in frozen black procession ride the armies of the night. Long winter's grasp, the giants curse, and march upon this middle world. Black halves of ash, and wellstone mace. What shock is marked on white frost face to anger at the passing time and steel sword gash, the frothing sparkling gulch, and the hell-born lightning ash. Rivers of fire, Flames of ice in frozen black procession ride the armies of the night. From deep space void and timeless form ride the forces fell, fraternal to the warm. The dragon is a sense of warm. Warm is the older pronunciation. I'd probably use the rhyming pronunciation. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, the carrion hawk which follows the armies of the night is the throned eagle fallen, the bastard of the light. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, a brazen general blacken leads the armies of the night from the cold northern waste to claim their ancient right. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, half fair, half dead rides the consort of the dark. On phantom mare she rides ahead, in train of vision stark. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, freezing day, scorching night. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, in frozen black procession ride the armies of the night. Long winter's grasp, the giant's curse, and march upon this middle world. Rivers of fire, flames of ice, what fate-flung fool will you face to edge him to the precipice, to end his danced-out, ill-starred race with warped time and bracing space, to grip him in an anvil's vice, twist rivers of fire and flames of ice? Shadows wet within the mist, silver slick as their armors shine, what army marches lost in clummy dark, what weirding light shimmers on these shields? Whose doomed wren ride and feel the rumbling paths of fate? Silence shouts their name aloud, and hooves of ebony void clamor for the turn of chaos. Abyss, gap, chaos, void, the throat of time, the horn of space. Never when, other where, the whirling hammer, the crushing mace, the gray-black riders, silent sable horses that start to howl to the howl, to heed to the howl of the gathering dark. It's really hard to be an oracle again, you know. It really is. But I've learned to laugh because I've been given the gift of laughing at myself. So I'm saying, okay, get it done, Michael. A golden roof is rent with cold drake's jaw. Red lizards lick, gold vultures pick at bony gems in the teeth of the gods, the eyes of pitted stars. Upon an ancient lane grass grows in the paving stones, and banished hordes march grimly to the baning of a world. A rift opens in tremendous fog to trap a fate. The eager fire freezes, burns hidden in the dark mists. 9 worlds converge in solemn act. The doom is old. The gods are trapped. When next fury fountain inflames the night, flourish, world, finish fanfare. Hold thunder bolt with lightning black. Mountains rise. Heavens crack. So I haven't read that in ages. That was the whole damn thing with some commentary. Like Harrison. You know, there's this story. I've been talking about it. I'll do the one last line that goes with this. To have some water. It's a nice little sort of lyrical thing. Sort of like a chorus to finish it off. The rocks are chanting, the mountains dance. The wind whirls black and bright on cool, flossed summer night. Strange range, the clouded lance prods the middle worlds of life. Wheels spin and spark, blades, blackened knife, carve and cleave the present past. The cycle throws. At last, at last. The rocks are chanting, the mountains dance, the wind whirls black and bright on cool, lost summer night. The loom of fate looms, clouded crags, far fire burn bale and bold. Destiny forged new hammers mold to blast and bind the present past. The cycle throws. At last, at last. The rocks are chanting, the mountains dance, the wind whirls black and bright on cool, lost summer nights. World gate wide above world's end gap, rainbow ruins from older worlds, flex, chaos, cave, and flux and curl, crave to crush the present past. The cycle throws. At last, at last. The rocks are chanting, the mountains dance, the wind whirls black and bright on cool, bleak, lost summer nights. That's actually one of the World Day Wood series. It came right after that. Yeah, I won't even bother you reading. The guys at ABC are funny. Just a sucker here. What else is in here? Oh, you know what? I had it all. It's all pinned up in the correct order in this little thing here. So that's all versions of it. So yeah, I submitted to that then. Oh, so what? CBC, what do I care? Yeah, well, let's just not talk about the government because I haven't seen their help right now. Here I just bit off the Crown's face. But no, I'd like to see this Crown. The Crown, I'd like to. I just did some really highly political things that nobody in my position should ever take on the Crown in this country. But I got nothing left to do I? You know, I want to get out of here. If you want to kick me out, that's fucking fine. Somebody will take me after what I said. Yeah, and Denver. Oh, more than that's bought or sold or used. More than just a passing touch or roving eye. Was it one with gifts and feasts or melody and rhyme of olden time? An open door to a mountain wind, a home for a lonely wanderer. Was this only a greedy snare? Was this heart so cheap as stifled lust? Drunk on wine and tears and sea, choked with needless fury and resent, embraced at last, breached by childhood's walls, if only for a few moments, ere fate wells. What private tusk, what shadowed act, what tongues must speak in open tact. Yeah, it goes, second line. All right, might as well do this. I saw this earlier. I didn't want to read it, but I will. Upon the road I deemed to set. When houses shut, prepare high feasts. How dark indeed the winter looms when light and house are distant and abandoned. Whither shall I go? A still an older speech. Whence lead the ways of poverty and of fate and chance? The commands of my will drive me senselessly to a self-forbidden door. The bonds of my heart drive me from a knock upon that portal, from willing again the golden ram. Must it be the same forever? Must it be different for never? I spin nonsense. I speak to avoid the tears, the joy, that memory of a too cherished thing bids me fawn to fill these empty hours, this cold hut, to give fire to a snowy afternoon. Thus I cannot chart a course. I cannot play carrot for my ass. Whatever comes will, may, is all be same. Another land my eyes are eager to find. Diversion, variety is their only sooth. To rid me of these familiar escapes, to get me out of temptation's way. Yeah, heartbreak. Yeah, I think that was in Brio Cabin, which is not like Big Brio Hardy Cabin. It's a little one that the squad they burned out. Jean-Francois. Oh, a lot of my good French-Canadian friends. A lot of French-Canadian guys, they left Quebec to this uptight place they found in BC. They're all nice guys. Yeah, a lot of stuff in here. Geez, I wrote a lot of stuff, you know. I wish I could find... See, I need to catalog it and sort it like everything else. And I do need to, when I go, leave it somewhere that, okay, it's worth something to somebody. But it is for now, it's Cody's. So, you know, he doesn't even understand what's in here yet. I don't know if it's any value given to what I know about what's coming, but something that's his, you know. Somebody cared about him. Okay, these are some short ones. Then we're done. I think. This is too much fun. Should have really done this, but now I've got this nice little Huawei. Oh yeah, okay. We'll do these ones. So I don't know which order I should do these in. They're all really short ones. I'll just do the whole sequence, and then I'll put them down then, because this is some really cool stuff, I think. So why don't I just read them? Embrace me with my love, O goddess, and sing. Fill me with the wine of poetry. Let me drunken dance for thee. As thy women fantasy lift a seat from my mortality. O goddess, my tongue can move only on oblivion's heartless wing. Try that again now that I know what it says. Well, sorry, let's do this. Where are the lights? Oh goddess, sorry. Ooh, not that passion. Embrace me, oh goddess. You can do it that way too. I'm an actor too, right? Do a lot with these lines, actually. Embrace me, oh goddess, with thy love, and sing. Fill me with the wine of poetry, let me drunken dance for thee. At thy whim and fantasy lift deceit from my mortality, O goddess. My tongue can only move on oblivion's heartless wing. The weight of care perturbs my speech, desire enclouds my sight. A one-eyed wanderer on inner beach raves for a draught from cauldron, kept from earthly flesh, that blood and honey gave to teach, a well drained for wisdom's might. Well, again, anybody who knows Norse poetry will probably recognize the well memory there, but also the drinking of Kvasir, some mead, the poetry. The Kvasir, the one is who what is spoken of. Kvas said, turning and surging, burning and urging, I'm still scarred by living too hard, moaning and screaming, dreaming. Start over. Okay. Turning and surging, burning and urging, I am still scarred by loving too hard. Moaning and screaming, groaning and dreaming, this air that I breathe is of the stuff that I seethe. A gout that boiled over from the heart of a rover. Turning and surging, burning and urging, I am still scarred by loving too hard. Moaning and screaming, groaning and dreaming, this air that I breathe is of the stuff that I seethe. A gout that boiled over from the heart of a rover. Yeah, that's doggerel, Mike, is it? All right, okay, whatever you say. All right, I don't know. I don't care. It was fun to do, right? So I have to criticize that because I have a degree. How do you want to publish that? You have to do it the way I want it. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, this one has to be really slow. I'll have to read it too fast just to make it through, because it should be like turning and surging, burning and urging. I am still scarred, moaning and screaming, groaning and dreaming. Love, life, both bitter and hard. Breathing and boiling, seething and roiling, a giant gout burst to spill. Paining and fearing, draining and rearing, the hour of parsed ages to kill. Being, dwelling, seeing, knelling. The knelling is kind of Heidegger and Heraclitus. His philosophers will get that part. There's a lot of references like that in my stuff. Like there often is, the letters, kind of poetry by men of letters. Then other people go, well, why doesn't it rhyme? Well, what's that about? Well, I'll just have to know more. Oh, who did I say this to? I can't remember which paper I sent this to. This was to go with the quatrains. I might as well do it now. Hey, folks. Editor. Dear sir, I plead, please print my humble rhymes. Let your heart bend as you read and take pity on my hungry lines. I know they reek of selfishness. I know they are unrefined. But my innards are empty, my pouch penniless. I shiver from cold and famine binds. That actually launched into a little giant encodium. But anyway, yeah, never mind. That was a longer one. So, am I just a casualty of the system? Am I failure or am I victim? A consequence of callous time? Oversensitive? Too refined, a wasteful, wasted bilious? A bitter tasted stylus, a sour hour to sing of wounds, an aging rage beholding doom, a barometer, cheap metaphor for pressure, a life led half mad, more for measure than for pleasure. Using lyre as axe, hewing syntax to carve what? Just another but, or complaint or sooth, in tongue not quite uncouth. Apparently that's archaic and nobody wants to publish it. Okay, well, whatever. I'll just perform it then. Perform? Is that what I do? I don't know. I become my poetry. Is that not something they want? You see? They want people to read out, oh, here we got this fashionable kid and you got this nice new poem. So I'm not griping about the cultural word. I was born outside it. I would not have been possible if I had been part of it all that I am. So I'm happy about it. It's just interesting how much I have here. Oh, God, I'd forgotten about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good thing. What I did was Andy getting me all this stuff, and I got somewhere now for a while, thanks to Mrs. Feniger and Elizabeth. I don't have to call her Mrs. Feniger. I just do whatever Deutsche respect and whatever the respect is. I should start looking at my German poetry book and start having a look at it, because I can read. I know the story good. I think Faust and Goethe, I can sort it out. I can know kind of the English translation. I should get the drill. So, look, folks, this is what my window is while I'm talking about all of this, and maybe I should have had that while I'm reading the poetry. Come the summer, I'll be doing that, especially with anything new I do. Anyways, I should shut this off. And John O'Hara, and VJ Lazar, whatever. I'm sorry, sweetie, I can't remember your name. Nice Spanish woman who likes my stuff and wants to translate it. Well, that's what it should sound like, and the tone of voice and the meaning of it, because you don't get that off the text. And like I say, I don't like the printed poetry world. Poetry has to do a Gutenberg leap into video. So the poets, like, apparently Yeats was poetry, they don't sound like you expect them to. Apparently, yeah, Seamus Haney, I heard him read. I did read Beowulf, I can't remember. I did hear him read, and Wayne Holding knew him. I gotta go, just telling, and look on the president, who was Wayne Holding. Wayne Holding was a good friend of mine, my mentor for poetry, also the one that had me switch the lines on Valerian song, which is why I'm trying to find the manuscript for it, see what the original ones were. But yeah, they get distorted over the years. It doesn't really matter. They're only words, but words are my communications that I didn't have communicating with society, as I read tons of stuff and various reasons for my social isolation, Oh, yeah, are there ever. Anyway, so I'm just turning on my light here. That's better. Oh, that's better. So, yeah, well, thank you for listening to that. I'll probably do more later. That was fun. Once I find certain things. And there are things like some solo respond. I need some other actors. There are nobody up here. Well, never who turns up. I hope some of the people been talking to lately about this other thing will find that all very interesting, about a certain project that's going on. So he's going to hear about this too, of course. So, anyways, this was fun to do. Got a lot of editing to do now here, though.